Hello and welcome to this FPL Gameweek 16 team selection video with me, Holly Shand. With Mbeumo going off injured midweek, we've got some big transfer plans, team selection and captaincy decision going into the weekend. I'm aiming to answer all comments on this video. Let's get it to 500 likes. Like and subscribe, aiming for 30k by the end of the year. I need all of your help. Let's get into it. Starting off with how my game week 15 is going. Obviously, I'm recording this video on Thursday morning. We've still got 2 games to go. Thankfully, I've still got 3 players left to play. Well, 4 actually. And I need all the points I can get. I always have low expectations of the midweek game weeks, and game week 15 absolutely lived up to that. Very little to report in terms of attacking returns. Flecken and Saliba both blanked in my defence, and Mbeumo got a goal, but then went off injured. An assist for Saka, a blank from my captain Salah, but luckily Haaland, the vice captain, who was the most popular captain pick this week, actually got less points than Salah. I was expecting Darwin and Tsimikas to see some rotation midweek. That came to fruition, but I feel like I got away with it because Tsimikas didn't come on. So I've got Livramento auto-subbing from my bench, and Darwin came on, but he did get an assist. So it wasn't an absolute disaster where that rotation was concerned. So I've still got triple Newcastle tonight away at Everton with Gordon, Livramento and Lascelles, and Son against West Ham at home. As it stands right now, I am regretting giving him the armband, but let's see what happens in the conclusion of that game week. So I'm currently on 25 points. I'm on a small red arrow at the moment, but I've still got hope. If you're watching this on Friday morning, you'll be laughing at how few points I got from my final 4 players. But, you know, right now I'm hopeful that I can still bash a green arrow out from this game week. Transfer plans then, and thankfully I've got 2 free transfers for this week, 0.9 million in the bank, and a lot of the transfer decisions this week will focus around the availability of Mbeumo, because probably one of the best fixtures on paper away at Sheffield United this week, although with Chris Wilder back at the helm, I don't think the Blades will be a walkover by any means. I think the fact that he rolled his ankle and went off injured straight away and didn't attempt to carry on, I don't think that bodes well for his inclusion in game week 16, if I'm honest. And we've got to remember Brentford do blank in game week 18 because they're meant to face Man City, who are at the Club World Cup. So you could have Mbeumo missing out this weekend, playing Aston Villa the following weekend, and then a blank. Now, I'm an OG Mbeumo owner. I've owned him since game week 1, so it will be sad to see him go, but I feel like the injury is the tipping point to sell him now. Now, in terms of replacements, there's a few places I can go. I've got that flexibility with money in the bank, but the one I've picked out at the moment is Chelsea's Cole Palmer, a really nice budget pick. And he's got great fixtures as well. He did see some rotation last weekend, but I think he had a little bit of a knock and was protected. We saw Enzo Fernandez convert from the penalty spot twice for Chelsea in that game, but I still believe Palmer to be first choice on pens. Now, there was a bit of concern that with Nkunku coming back soon, we could see a change in role for Palmer, perhaps less attacking, but I still think that Nkunku's a little bit of a while off, and I feel like Jackson would be the prime candidate to drop out. So it is Palmer that I'm leaning to as my Mbeumo replacement. But I've also got my eye on Jared Bowen. Spurs away is probably not the easiest entry fixture for him, but the fixtures do look nice for the Hammers beyond that. And he's scored 8 goals this season. Only Son, Salah and Haaland have more than that, and that's really impressive. So I am going to be monitoring him closely in his game week 15 fixture because he is another option, but it does leave me a little bit less flexibility in terms of funds. Now, I have got 2 free transfers, and when we get to this congested phase of the season, we do need our benches. And one thing that's been concerning me for a few weeks that I've got the opportunity to fix this week is that I've got Luton's Burke on my bench, who's been out for about 2 months. never seems to be any update on whether he'll be back soon or not. And for me now, I feel like it's time to upgrade this spot, particularly because I look at my players that I've got for the weekend. And I've got Saliba away at Aston Villa, which is not an easy fixture in my defence. I've also got Lascelles and Livramento away at Spurs, who I absolutely expect to score in that game. So I feel like if I upgrade Burke, then I can bench at least 2 of those players, which will certainly help. Now, in terms of replacements, I'm looking to Chelsea again, and Levi Colwill looks to be a great option. Chelsea have got fantastic fixtures. Colwill was actually playing at left back in the last game. Chelsea defence is, to be fair, isn't that impressive, so it is a play on the fixtures, but with some advanced positioning, I think he could be a good pick, and he can basically play anywhere in that Chelsea defence. He's got a very good fitness record as well, so that certainly helps. The alternative would be to get in Pedro Porro for Spurs, who's dominating on set pieces with Maddison out, and we know that Maddison's injury layoff is set to extend right into February, so from an attacking perspective, Porro probably looks like one of the best defenders in the game right now. The fixtures are nice for Spurs as well, but obviously Newcastle at home this weekend is not the best entry point. So psychologically, it feels like a bit of a waste of a transfer to bring him in when he's got a tough fixture. But, you know, I have got the funds to do the move, so it is something that I am going to consider. And again, I'll be monitoring Porro very closely in his game week 15 fixture before absolutely locking in my moves. But Palmer and Colwill feels like the way I'll go right now. Now, I did request my AI transfers on Fantasy Football Hub. You can do this as well with a 30-day free trial using the link in the description to the video. That will take you through the next 5 game weeks of content for absolutely free. My recommended transfer this week was to go from Mbeumo to Bowen, so quite well aligned on those moves, and also the alternative was to go from Saliba to Porro with the second free transfer. So the same names in the frame there, slightly different strategy, trying to maximise funds in the 11, which is something that I probably ought to consider with a very congested schedule. Having those extra funds in the bank does give you maximum flexibility, so it's something to wonder. FPL Gameweek 16 team selection time then. In goal, it's going to be Flecken away at Sheffield United over Areola away at Fulham. Flecken is the better of my 2 goalkeepers, so I need to keep the faith with starting him every week, even though there's not a lot to choose between them in terms of fixtures this week. Then in defence, I think it's going to be Livramento and Lascelles dropping to the bench for Spurs away. That means I'll have to play Saliba away at Aston Villa alongside Tsimikas away at Crystal Palace. I do think he'll start this game after his midweek rest, so that is one positive in there. A new signing Colwill away at Everton. Moving into the midfield, and I feel like I'm pretty well aligned with the optimal midfield right now. We've got Palmer away at Everton, Gordon away at Spurs, Son at home to Newcastle, Saka away at Villa, and Salah away at Palace. The only downside here is a number of away fixtures. 10 of my 11 play away from home this week, with Son the only exception to that rule. And then up front, it's Darwin away at Palace and Haaland away at Luton. I do feel confident that Darwin will start this game after his rest midweek. Haaland away at Luton, probably looking like the pick of the fixtures on paper. I've got Archer as my first sub with Brentford at home in case we get any more rotation, which is, expected again because of how busy the schedule is. And we've still got a European midweek to come off the back of this one. When it comes to captaincy then, for me this week, I feel like there are only 2 names in the frame, Haaland and Salah. I feel like, given City's form, Haaland has to play. And in the case of Salah, he was substituted early midweek, so I think that helps his minutes. I could potentially bring Son into the frame as well for Newcastle at home, depending on how his performance looks in game week 15 and that of Newcastle's defence. I know that Luton are a difficult team to break down at home, but I just feel like Haaland has been an absolute powerhouse against promoted teams, and his away form has been better than his home form this season. So I am prepared to trust him with the captaincy, going with the herd here with Salah as my vice-captain. Remember, I am answering all comments on this video, so get your dilemmas in below and let's get this one to 500 likes. Like and subscribe, aiming for 30k subs by the end of the year, but I'm going to need all your help to get there. And hit that notify button as well, because I'll have updates from Thomas Frank over the fitness of Mbeumo in his press conference on Friday. I'll be going live at 1 p.m. Also got the deadline stream on Saturday as well at 10 a.m. The links to both of those are in the description to this video, so make sure that you're joining me for those ones. Thank you for watching.